But we're talking about the pain in this country. I saw this video. It was really moving. Channel 5's Andrew Callahan actually spoke to somebody at an event for the Poor People's Campaign, and she very passionately here speaks about how difficult it is to live in this country. And I, as a poor person, and is just, it's a great clip that people should share a little bit more, because it's a great reminder about the lack of humanity of so much of our political system.
The meat grinder of our economy.
About the kind of country we live in, let's be honest. There's something wrong in this country telling people it is okay to work 3 jobs, not see your kids, not see your loved ones, not take a vacation, and God forbid you get sick. Okay? And I still got a job at home because I'm a mother. Because let's not forget, I don't get a day off. And I got to figure all that out. How are we going to eat? How are we going to pay rent? How are we going to pay the utility bills? That every single thing went up after COVID. Not one thing stayed the same except salaries. The only thing that stayed the same in this country is the minimum wage. Even though everything else went up. And we have a Democratic president or a Republican president, then a Democratic president, Republican president, and neither party ever talks about what is really going on in this world. Because I'm not even going to say the country. What is really going on in this world? There is no scarcity. It is, how do we pit people against each other so they're too distracted to see everything that I'm too addicted to consuming, and how much profit I'm making, and more profit, how many more houses one individual can have, how many yachts can one individual have. And you're gonna arrest me now that I make a tent city? Yeah. So if I take the scraps from the trash and make some kind of shelter for me and my children, regardless whether I have mental health issues, regardless whether I'm an addict, regardless of whether I am a female, male, whatever, I am a human being first. With what conscience are you criminalizing poverty?
That's exactly right. So everybody that talks about cracking down on homeless encampments and public safety and all of these criminalizing measures as it relates to people who have been victimized by our disgusting society should be ashamed of themselves. If you're not foregrounding solutions that involve building public housing, affordable housing, expanding the economy, raising the minimum wage significantly nationally, which the Harris campaign is trying to win, but I don't like the politics of consistently centering the middle class at the expense of the working class for that reason, because she's right. Like, why the minimum wage in this country, when was the last time it went up? Decades ago? It's incredible. On the federal level, how have we not raised the minimum wage to even $15 an hour? It should be $20. It should be higher.
Yeah.
And
because the electorate's wealthy.
It's exactly right. And so, she spoke very powerfully there.
If you're unhoused, you think your voter registration's up to date?
Right. That's right. And that's the point, is that unfortunately, we have disenfranchised so many people in this country by imposing poverty on them to that degree.
That it's somehow normal for the multimillionaire governor of the state of California to put on some like jeans and start destroying people's tents unhoused people's tents that they're living in. Like that's dystopian shit. And she's exactly right to call out both parties on this, because those freaks are the exact reason that nothing's happened on this. Like, we can all condemn Republicans, and I think Republicans are horrible.
Yes.
It is the wealthy Democrats in cities that support people like Gavin Newsom, destroying those people's lives and selling out for real estate developers.
Yep.
That are the actual break. It is those people who kicked Bowman out and put Latimer in the Bronx here, at Mount Vernon, Westchester. Yep. It is that type of Democrat that is the brake on any kind of progress, because they are foremost concerned with their giant housing value and how much they're going to be able to sell that off for. Same thing with the Democrats that voted in the primary for Wesley Bell over Cori Bush. Cori Bush was, I think, maybe the lowest income, lifetime income representative in Congress.
She was once unhoused and a representative of that voice.
There you go. And get them out of there, because the wealthy Democrats that vote in primaries, regardless of who wins this presidential election, that's going to be my hobby horse, is this type of Democrats. Because look, fine, all the stupid ass hicks in diners that are just concerned with, like, you know, keeping the white demographic as high percentage of it is, yeah, they suck. It's these people that I really have a problem with, and I think are really the sort of fundamental break on progress in this country and world.
And and rhetoric does matter on that front, right? Like in the period when Walz was selected, it was refreshing to hear the Democrats talk about things like free school lunches. But now that there's been a general election pivot, that has been kind of abandoned at this moment. And I don't like that, because I don't even think it's the right, it's such a risk-averse strategy that also doesn't have a forward-thinking bent, because if you were to foreground that stuff that's very popular, that creates opportunities and oxygen for those politics to have more life. But as Matt says, there is a lot of institutional, Chuck Schumer infrastructure that doesn't want those to empower those politics. That's why Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats didn't temporarily expand Medicare during the pandemic. They expanded COBRA, which is this extremely not cost-effective Byzantine system that allows you to maintain your private insurance if you lose your job, as opposed to doing what was cheaper, more direct, and more reasonable. But when you open the door to expanding Medicare, then people go, well, why couldn't we do this for everybody?
And it's not that they don't want to win. It's that there's certain ways that are very inconvenient for them to win. And so if they win by turning out a bunch of working class people on those types of promises, then they all of a sudden have to learn an entirely new playbook. If they can just win with the base of wealthy liberals that, say, Chuck Schumer wanted when he said every person Trump picks up in the cities, we're going to pick up 2 in the suburbs. That's because that's how they want to govern. Yeah. That's the playbook they want to run. And look, you can force them to throw that out, like Humphrey did throughout the states' rights in 1948 in a push come shove election. And look, this election might get close enough to where Harris has to do that, which is why I think folks like the uncommitted, which might not bear fruit. But at least it's an effort towards making that avenue available in the case that circumstances can sort of force it. Exactly.
All right, guys, we're going to read some IMs and then we'll get out of here. Gra says, great job.
You don't want to go long today?
No, I don't. Let's get some more IMs about how I'm a bitch or something like that.
Hi, folks. Hey, you've heard me criticize how the mainstream media across the political spectrum either fails to report on important stories or prioritizes their own bias over balanced and comprehensive news coverage. Well, that's why I use Ground News as a solution on a daily basis. Longtime sponsors gather related news and add important context so you can understand how each outlet reports on it and maybe sometimes skews the facts. This, and being so close to the presidential election, you're going to see rhetoric against Harris and Tim Walz is only going to intensify. So I can't recommend enough that you check out Ground News's election page. My Vantage plan gets me access to their election-focused blind spot feed and diverse perspectives on each candidate so I can find the truth on who they really are, not just hear the loudest, most biased opinions. And areas where, frankly, the left or the right is not covering. For each story you read on their platform, you're going to find article Ground News found reporting on it, as well as tags to the next source indicating if they're independently owned or not, how credible their reporting is, and if they have any political bias one way or another, making it really easy to critically analyze different perspectives and come to your own conclusions. Their mission aligns so much with what we try to do on this show. We try and make you more media literate. So I can't recommend enough going to ground.news/majority or scanning my QR code to subscribe. Ground News is independent and subscriber supported. My viewers, however, will save 40% on the same Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access to all their features on a daily basis. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.